By the time you're watching this video, Highguard is either coming out in a few hours or it's already out. No long marketing ramp, no steady drumbeat of previews, no beta weekends slowly warming people up, no months of influencers, impressions, or hands-on videos. Just here it is. And that alone makes Highguard fascinating, not just as a game, but as a case study of why surprise launches almost never work in modern gaming, even when developers believe deeply in that product. Because in today's industry, how you launch a game can matter just as much as what you launch. To understand why Highguard launch strategy is so risky, we have to talk about the environment it's launching into. Modern gaming is louder than it's ever been. Every week, multiple new releases, endless updates for live service games, seasonal resets, battle passes, events, and crossovers, and a consistent stream of discounts begging players to come back. Players don't just choose what to play anymore, they choose what to ignore. And that makes attention the most valuable currency in the industry. Launching quietly in a loud space isn't bold, it's dangerous. When Highguard appeared at the Game Awards, it had to kind of reveal most studios dream about. Big stage, massive global audience, and somehow placement. The slot reserved for games the industry wants people talking about afterwards. The trailer was stylish, visual distinct, not obviously chasing trends. Or is it? We don't know. It didn't scream live service slop. It didn't feel like a clone of something else. Or is it? Because it looked like Concord or another game like Concord. There's been comparisons for the last 6 weeks of side-by-side comparisons of it looked like it and what they were chasing and not explaining to people. It created curiosity, but people weren't saying, I'm sold. They were saying, okay, what is this? That looks interesting. I want to know more. I don't want to play another Concord. And that's exactly what the reveal trailer is supposed to do. But curiosity is fragile, and without follow-up, it dies quickly. After the Game Awards, Highguard didn't build momentum. It vanished. No gameplay breakdowns explaining how matches actually flow. No dev diaries walking players through systems or progression. No regular persistence in the conversation to keep the game top of mind. In a vacuum, silence feels natural. In reality, silence is deadly. Because while Highguard was quiet, everything else wasn't. Other games were running betas, showing roadmaps, dropping trailers, feeding algorithms with constant reminders. And players didn't consciously forget Highguard, they just replaced it. Surprise launches sound great on paper. They promise no bloated hype cycle, no overpromising, no years of unrealistic expectations, no backlash over trailer downgrades. Just drop the game and let it speak for itself. That logic used to work. But here's the hard truth. Games don't get judged in isolation anymore. They get judged against time investment, learning curves, competing games already in someone's rotation, other past games that look like it. The player doesn't ask, is this good? They ask, is this worth dropping a game they already play? Surprise launches remove the runway players need to answer that question. Modern players don't experiment the way they used to. Games are longer, more complex, more demanding. Starting a new game often means learning systems, watching guides, committing dozens of hours. That's a decision, not an impulse. And decisions require information. Surprise launches ask players to commit before they understand what they're committing to. Most won't. Let's be clear. Surprise launches can work, but only under very specific conditions. They succeed when the IP is a massive and trusted, the developer has a ironclad reputation, or the game is so simple and readable that no explanation is needed. Think, ironically, the other game that these developers, or most of these developers from Apex Legends. That launch worked because it was free, like Highguard. It was instantly understandable, not so much like Highguard. It came from a known studio, and it fit into the existing genre players already knew. Now, Highguard doesn't have those advantages, sort of. It's not instantly readable. It's not riding a household name IP, and it didn't spend months educating players on what makes it special. It's just going off of the developers that created Apex Legends and Titanfall. And that puts it in a disadvantage before anyone else even touches a controller. Right now, Highguard's biggest enemy isn't competition, it's confusion. A huge portion of the potential players don't know what kind of game it actually is, how it's meant to be played long term, and what makes it different from similar titles. Is it PvP? Is it PvE? Is it hybrid? This is a session base or a progression heavy? Is it a one and done experience or a live service commitment? Those answers should have been drilled into players' heads months ago instead of launch days as just doing everything at once. That's not strategy, that's pressure. Here's the real problem with surprise launches. They turn launch day into a bottleneck. Everything has to go right. First impressions are everything. Performance, onboarding, messaging. All this just has to work. There's no buffer. If a tutorial is confusing, players leave. If the servers struggle, players leave. If the core loop isn't obvious, players leave. And they don't come back because the industry has trained players to move on quickly. We've watched this exact pattern play out again and again. A game launches quietly, interest spikes briefly, player numbers drop sharply, and within weeks, the narrative becomes, did this already fail? Not because the game was bad, but because it never had the time to breathe. Word of mouth can't save a game that players never stuck around long enough to talk about. Successful games repeat their message endlessly. Not because players are dumb, well, you can make that choice, but because attention is fractured. Players need to hear what the game is. Why is it different? Why is it worth their time over and over? Surprise launches skip that repetition entirely. They assume clarity will happen instantly, and it rarely does. There's no second wave for Highguard. No upcoming beta to reignite interest. No big reveals still waiting in the wings. No long-tail marketing push coming later. This is a moment. If the game launches smooth, polished, and immediately readable, it might build momentum through clips, streams, and community buzz. But if it launches rough, confusing, light on explanation, that's it. That window closes fast. Highguard represents a growing myth in the industry. That marketing is optional if the game is good. That belief ignores reality. Marketing isn't lying. Marketing isn't translation. It explains why your game exists, who is it for, and why someone should care now instead of later. Surprise launches skip that translation, and most games can't afford to. By the time you're watching this, Highguard is either finding its audience or learning how unforgiving modern launches have become. Either way, it's going to teach us something. Not just about Highguard as a game, but whether surprise launches still have a place in the industry defined by noise, competition, and limited attention. And if history is any guide, they usually don't. So that's where we'll leave it. Highguard is either about to prove everyone wrong or about to show us how unforgiving modern launches really are. Over the next few days, the story is going to write itself. Player numbers, community reactions, and how long people actually stick around once a novelty wears off. I'll come back once the dust settles and talk about what the launch really tells us. Not just about Highguard, but about the industry's growing obsession with skipping the hard part, hoping the game speaks for itself. And if this kind of long-form breakdown is your thing, feel free to subscribe. No pressure. Just means that these videos find you a little easier when the next one goes up. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Patch it, drop it, update.